We'll get started. So good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Glad to have everybody here. We were just talking about the weather and how it's been such a drastic change all of a sudden, both ways, First it's freezing and windy, and now it's warming up again. And it reminded me of the saying, I don't know exactly how it goes, but the only constant in your life is that things will change. And it's so true. As I get older, I realize how incredibly true that is. So there is something, however, that never changes. And that's the spark that was put into you when you were born, that your soul is still the same. Even when you were born, you had the same soul that you do now. And so that's why I find yoga to be so valuable, because it kind of helps you reconnect with that part of you that never changes. Even though physically we change, maybe cerebrally we change, we grow, but the soul is always the same. So let's just close our eyes and reconnect inward. I believe when you get quiet, that's your opportunity to really find that peacefulness in your soul and your connection maybe to something greater. Just observing your breath. You can be guaranteed that everything else will change. There's always a calm place inside. It never changes, that you can connect to anytime you feel like the storm's swarming around you on the outside. They're gonna drag you under. You just connect inside. Everything seems much better, calmer, more beautiful. Bring hands to heart center. May we all feel the grace within us. Please lower your hands, open your eyes. And I wanted to start on all fours this morning. So if you're using a knee mat, please put it under your knees, because we're gonna be here for a while. And just kind of notice your hands and your knees. And last week we reconnected with shoulders. So if you want to do that now, so alongside body, head of the arm bones back, broaden. So you feel really connected in the shoulders. Actually, drop that. Think, I'm not going to connect anywhere. I'm just going to lift my right leg out to the side. And when you do that, notice how your left shoulder comes forward, and maybe your left hip moves out to the side. It doesn't feel very connected. So we're going to do it a different way. Now connect with your shoulders long side body and the arms back, broaden. Really connect with your outer left hip. Don't scoop your tailbone, just think long spine. And now lift the right knee off to the side and see if you can prevent anything from moving. Good. And you might not lift it very high, but you can sure feel the outer left hip, right? And then maybe make a few circles with your right knee, just noticing how hard it is to hold everything steady, but how supported it feels. Switch directions of your circle. You don't have to circle if it's not feeling good. Good. And then bring the knee down. Go ahead and take child's pose for a moment. If you can feel the outer hips and what it did. Good. And then come on up. Don't connect with anything and lift your left knee. Notice my right shoulder kind of comes forward. My right hip moves out to the side. It feels really disconnected, but I can lift it high. Good. Now bring it down. Connect shoulders, hips, spine lengthens. Don't scoop the tailbone. Lift the knee again. See if you can keep everything steady. It may not be lifting very high. It's okay. Plug the right hip in. Now make circles with the left knee. Feel like the top of the femur is just kind of rotating in the hip socket. Switch directions, but you're really working the right hip to keep it steady. Good. And bring it down. Take child's pose again. And just check in. Move your wrists around if you want. And then come on back up to all fours and just move into a cow pose. And then round to cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Okay, one more time. Inhale to cow. And then this time when you round to cat, go ahead and sit back to child's pose. And then inhale, slide into cow again. Exhale, round, sit back to cat or to child's pose. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, slide into cow. Exhale, round, sit back. Last time, inhale, cow. Exhale, round, push back. Hi, Artemis. A while since you've been down here, girlfriend. Good, and then just stay in child's pose. Come up on fingertips for a moment. Broaden your clavicles. Good stretch in the shoulders. And then come up to all fours. Curl your toes under and see about pushing back for a deep squat. Don't have to do that if your toes hurting or something like that, or your knees. And then come on up to standing. And I'm going to have you grab a block. I'm going to take off there. Grab a block and insert it between your upper thighs. We haven't done this for a while, so we have to do this every now and then because it's a good exercise. So I want you to Really engage your legs. And don't scoop your tailbone, but squeeze the block. So, it kind of feels like maybe the block will pop out the backside like you're a Pez. So squeeze the block. Good. Now, I want you to feel like, so last week we worked on shoulder stabilization. This week we're going to work on hip stabilization. So I want you to twist to your right and just keep the hips steady. Notice that. And then go to the other side. Hips stay steady, they don't twist. You just use the outer thighs. It's gonna be a lot of work. Come back to the first side. And then move to the second side. Squeeze the block. Good. And come back to center. Now let's add the arms. So bring the elbows up, think long side body, head of the arm bones back, broaden so you feel really connected both sides, and stretch your arms up. Good. Now keeping the hips super steady, arc to your right. Try not to let the hips move. Just feel a stretch. Artie's gonna come greet all of you. Good. Come back to center and arc to the left. Squeeze the block. A lot of work keeping those outer thighs really connected. Come back to center. Bring hands to heart center. Now keep squeezing the block and bend the knees to an Utkatasana, so chair pose. Good. And then just kind of notice there. Can you still squeeze the block? But think sits bones back a little bit. Yeah. Now twist to your right. Don't try and get the elbow down. Just twist to your right. Keep everything steady. See how your knees don't move? Good. Come back to center. Twist to your left. Hips don't move. Just feeling a twist in the core. Come back to center and stand up. Are you still squeezing the block? Can you add the arms? Good. Breathe and release. Whew. Now you can just set the block in front of your mat. But you have to remember how that felt with your hips really steady like that. So now we're going to do a little balance. So stand on the right foot. Pretend like you can squeeze that block still because you're keeping the hips even, and you're utilizing both the inside and the outside of your hips. Just keep it steady and then lift the knee. You can bring your arms out. And just notice, I noticed my right hip lifted a little bit, so I'm trying to adjust. And then release. I have the benefit of looking at myself so I can see if anything's shifted. But we all have tendencies, especially from one side to the next. So just kind of notice. So switch sides, lift the right heel. Keep thinking long spine, hips steady as you lift the knee. Or maybe you just lift the heel and work on it from that position. And release. Good. Okay, now we're going to do it again, but we're going to move to tree pose. So it's really hard when you lift and then turn it out for your hips not to shift. So think about that. So stand on your right foot, lift the left heel, lift the knee, keep the outer left thigh steady as you, or right thigh steady as you move the knee out. And then if you want, you can just bring the foot to the low leg, or if you want, the upper leg. And come into tree pose, just thinking hips steady, long spine. If I press my foot into my leg, then my outer leg resists. Good, and release. Good. Let's try the other side. Yeah, and you can do this by a wall too, just to steady yourself, and so you can really check in with your legs. So switch your weight, lift the knee. Don't scoop the tailbone here. I just want you to feel the legs steady. Turn it out. Find the leg and extend. Stay steady. Low belly draws up. Good, and release. Well done. Okay, let's think of something else now. So find your blocks. We're going to still work on hips, but from a different position. So come on up to standing. Bring your blocks by your feet. And have the remembrance of the block between your upper thighs. And bring your elbows up. Think long side body, head of the arm bone back. Broaden the clavicles. Really feel like you're connected both sides of the shoulders and stretch up. Can you really feel your legs firmed and steady? Good, now fold forward, come to Uttanasana. And just pause there for a moment. Check in. Couple breaths. And now step your right foot back to a deep lunge and lower the back knee. And just kind of look. So a lot of times for me, when I do this, my left hip will stick out to the side and my right hip will kind of come inward. So I want you to kind of firm it up. So think, I'm going to draw the left hip in and keep this hip crease moving back so evenly on both sides. And then notice how your right leg kind of follows suit. And it feels like you're pulling your left heel back, right? Just notice that. Bring your hands to your front thigh. Try to keep the hips steady like that. Good, now find your way to Anjaneyasana. Long side body, head of the arm rolls back. Stretch up. Good. Keeping steady. Bring hands to heart center. Now don't let anything shift as you twist to your left. Good. You don't have to twist deeply. Just feel the firmness of your hips holding you steady. Good. Unwind. Touch the blocks. Very nice. Stretch your hips back. You can use the blocks here if you need to. And come to runner's lunge. And notice here, for me, my right hip sticks out. So I have to kind of think, okay, I'm going to steady the left hip, draw the hip crease straight back, my heel, my sits bone, my knee kind of line up. Runner's lunge, a safe hold. So I have to really think, right hip draws in, left hip maybe draws out a little bit because it wants to draw in. Good, bend into back into the front knee, hands to the blocks. Now, if this was hard for you in Anjane, you can stay down. You want to lift the back knee and just notice, did anything shift here? Is everything lined up? Hold that left hip in, come up slowly. Crescent warrior. Good. Bring the hands to the blocks for a moment. Ground the back foot down. And then come up warrior two. Now it's really easy to think the left hip sticks out here. So think of drawing the hip crease back so that you can draw that left hip in a little bit. Sometimes I have to bend my right knee to feel that. And then add the arms, warrior two. Really nice, you guys. If you're hugging the feet towards each other, you'll be able to feel this better. Your knee's gonna track straight. And you're gonna be able to breathe, right? A little bit of a reversal, right hand down, left arm up. And then back to warrior two. See if you can keep the hips firm, elbow to the knee, right arm up. Maybe stretch it over. Parsvakonasana. And touch down. Turn the back heel up. Notice. Did anything shift? And step forward. Forward fold. Take a breath. And step your left foot back to deep lunge. Lower the back knee. And then just see, does this side different? Is my right hip sticking out to the side? Can I firm up the outer right hip? Keep things square. Maybe bring hands to the front knee. See how it feels. So both sides of the right hip crease are in the same plane, right? And the outer left hip's firm. Add the arms if you'd like. Long side body, head of the arms back, broaden, stretch up. Feels like the rib cage is back, but really focus on the hips today. Good, hands to heart center. Try to keep everything steady as you twist to your right. Good, unwind. Touch down, slide the hips back to straighten the leg, runner's lunge. Notice, how things shifted. You want heels and sits bones to line up. So I have to kind of move the right hip back, especially the outer hip draws in. And then left hip firms up and then maybe fold. Lengthen the spine always. Good, bend into the front knee. Lift the back knee. Check in. Hey, is everything lined up? Am I really staying firm everywhere I need to be? Keeping those hips steady. Come up, crescent warrior. Add the arms if you want. And breathe. Good. If you want, you can just ground the back foot down. If you need to touch the blocks first, fine. I'm gonna turn this way so I can see you guys. Warrior two. And just notice, a lot of times your knee will be at a funky angle. So you want to think, draw the outer right thigh back. Sometimes I have to bend the back knee to really feel it. Warrior two. Don't scoop your tailbone though. Think sits bones back. Just drawing that under, reverse it. Good, and then back to warrior two. Be really mindful as you bring elbow to knee. Don't let anything change. Switch the arm by the ear. Feel those outer hips working, but in conjunction with everything else, touch down, turn the heel up. And just set your blocks off to step back to a downward facing dog. And just walk it out. You can come to a plank pose and just notice, look back at your hips. Are they steady? One lower than the other? Good. And then lower down to the mat. Good. Stretch your feet long. Really use your legs. And then think long spine, lift to cobra. Can you? And just do that 2 more times, just being really mindful to utilize the legs, utilize the core to lift and lower. Last time. And come on down. Good. Curl your toes. Actually, I'm going to have you do this on the blocks. So bring the blocks under your hands again and lift to a downward facing dog on the blocks. Now bring your feet a little bit closer together and think steady hips. So we're going to lift a leg and I want you to notice if anything. So firm up your shoulders and think really strong hips. Left hip hugs in as you extend the right leg back. Ooh, feel more work on your left hip than you do your right, don't you? Okay, now bend the knee. Maybe make little circles there. You're not lifting it out to the side too much, just keeping everything steady. Good. Switch directions. Extend the leg. Are your shoulders still steady? And bring the foot down. You okay? You okay? Okay. Okay, let's come down to child's pose for a moment before we switch sides. Just stack your hands under your forehead. Check in with your outer thighs. And let's go for the other side. So come back up on the blocks. The blocks, you don't have to do this with your blocks. It just kind of grounds you into your feet a little more. Now think long side body, head of the arm back, broaden. So you really connect through the shoulders and then connect through the hips by sticking the sits bones up and back, maybe bending the knees, and then really lengthen your spine. Now keep that, extend the left leg. Don't let anything change. Bend the knee, make little circles. You'll really feel it on the outer right hip. have to hold her steady. Switch directions. Good, extend the leg. Good, and this time step it through. So knee to nose, hold the right hip in, step it through, deep lunge. Good, step forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, pranam. Exhale, fold. And inhale, come all the way up to standing. Feel like you have that block in between your hips as you stretch all the way up. And then close your eyes, bring hands to heart center. And sometimes you can feel better with eyes closed, so feel your legs. You still feel that work happening on the outer thighs. I'm really trying to get my sits bones back. Just feel how much effort it takes in your legs. Good, now release your hands, open your eyes. How'd that feel? Pretty good? Okay, we're gonna try one more balance pose. So step away from your blocks so you don't trip on them. And I'm gonna give you 3 options. So we're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna lift the knee and just keep thinking steady, and either grab the knee to bring it out to the side and keep this leg steady, or you can work your hand down, maybe find the ankle or find the little toe side, and then keep thinking really strong standing leg, maybe extend. You have to keep thinking this hip in, this hip back as I fall out of it, okay? So stand on your right foot, lift, either grab the knee or your hand comes to the inside if you're gonna grab the shin or the ankle or the little toe side. Keep thinking, drawing the left or the right hip in as I extend the leg. Maybe it won't go all the way straight. That's totally fine. See if you can keep both hips steady and then release. Good. You had to release because I fell out of it. Okay, other side. So keep thinking that you can still have that block there to firm the outer hips, but you're still trying to get your sits bones back. Shift your weight, lift the knee. Whichever variation you're doing, go for it. And release. Well done. Yay. Kind of fun to think about those things. Okay, I'm going to have you do one more sun salute, but thinking of your outer thighs the whole time. And then I might throw some things at you that you may not, you don't have to do them, but you can choose to do them if you want because it's challenging. Okay, so it's the same thing we did last time. So think block firms you, sits bones back, add the arms, alongside body, head down, this back broaden, and good, fold forward on the exhale. Pranam, and fold. Step your left foot back first this time. Lower the back knee. Firm the hips, Anjane Asana. Add the arms if you'd like. Even sometimes when I do the twist, my back foot, so my left foot will go funky on me. So bring hands to heart center. Think firm the outer right thigh. That won't shift. Firm the heel hugging in, twist. Maybe this time elbow to knee if that's available. Breathe. Good. Keep everything firm as you come back to center. Touch the blocks. This time lift the back knee and then bring the hips up and back to Parsvottanasana. So straighten the right leg. See if everything lines up. Sometimes I have to think right hip hugged in. I want to keep it steady. I want to keep the left one lined up so the hips are even. And then maybe fold. Good. Now keep steady as you come back up and bend into the front knee. Crescent warrior. Hug your right hip in. Come up. Keep it really steady. Extend the arms if you feel on that. Good. Now bring hands to heart center. Keep that bottom leg just as steady. Take a baby step in with your back leg. Think really inner and outer thigh of the standing leg and the lifted leg to warrior three. Whoa. Good. Touch it down. See if everything's still even. Ground the back foot down. Warrior two. Keep thinking right hip in. Extend the arms. I always have to think of firming both hips, but keeping the sits bones back. Works better. Reverse it. Good. And your block is there. So this time, warrior two, but reach for your block. Bring your left hand to your hip. You still have the hip really strong. Slide the back foot forward. Slide the block out. Really think of hips staying steady to the side this time. So outer right thigh is working. Outer left thigh is working. Come up to Ardha Chandrasana. And then bend the knee, touch it back down, and turn the back heel up for a deep lunge. Step back, downward facing dog. And go ahead and take a child's pose for a moment. Think about all that. There's any part of that that is too much, whether it's Ardha Chandrasana, you can stay in warrior two, or if it's warrior three, you can stay in crescent warrior and work on the same things, without going to that extra effort. Still benefiting you to work on those outer thighs and inner thighs, really. Come on up, back up to downward facing dog. See if you're connected everywhere. Extend the left leg and step it through to deep lunge. Good. Lower the back knee. Just check. Notice, is your left hip firm? Come up to Anjane. Good. Hands to heart center. Twist. Don't let anything shift. Just twist in the core. Elbow to knee if that works for you. Good. Unwind. Hands to the blocks. Lift the back knee. See if everything's lined up. And then shift the hips back and up. You lift your right heel high, it'll feel better. I always have to think outer left thigh doesn't really hug in because it wants to come in. My right thigh wants to stick out. So I have to hug the outer right thigh in and kind of move the left thigh wider. Feels better. Good. Now bend into the front knee. You can adjust your feet if you need to. And come up, crescent warrior. Keep the left hip crease evenly moving back. Add the arms if you want. Good, hands to heart center. Lean forward, shift your weight. You can step the right foot in to really get that feeling of hips helping you here as you lift the back leg. Left hip hugging in. Good, touch it down. You can touch the blocks to transition to warrior two, or just swivel that heel down. Just notice warrior two. Nice. Knee tracking straight. That feel like the outer left hip's helping you, but you're not scooping your tailbone. You're just using your back leg more. Reverse it. Good. Back to warrior two. And then Parsva Konasana. So hand to block, right hand to hip. Look at the floor so you know where you're going. Keep your left hip steady. Slide the right foot in, slide the block out, and then lift to Ardha Chandrasana. Just notice whether you're right in the middle of that foot, whether you're able to hug the left thigh in. Oops. Extend the arm if that's working for you. Good, and touch down. Turn the back heel up. Take deep lunge and step back. Downward facing dog. And go ahead and lower your knees. Stretch your feet long. And either sit on your heels, or if you want to put a block under there, do. And then notice here. So sometimes I'll notice, well, my right hip kind of comes to the side when I do this. So can I even it out and make them even? We all have our funky things. So notice that. And then if you want to go deeper, you can move your knees a little wider, your feet a little wider, so they're lined up, because you want to hinge your knees, and then maybe sit back. I just have to move my calf. And then notice again, are your hips even? Are they working evenly? My right one always is funky. If you want to go deeper, just keep noticing the whole time. Virasana if you want. I know mine's not happening today either. Good. And then come on out. Ooh. Come to all fours and just do a cow and a cat. One more time. Cow. Even in this position, are things steady and even? Good, and then swivel your feet to one side, come to seated position with your legs out in front of you. I'm gonna move my blocks out of the way and kind of scooch so you're in the middle of your mat. If you lay down, you'd still be on it, right? And then just notice here, do my sits bones, my heels line up, my knees point straight up. If press your heels down, actually, hands by your hips. Think sits bones really grounded and maybe back a little bit. And then nice long spine. And just notice, are things even? Maybe I need to draw my right leg back a little bit more. Good, now keep that. Keep pressing the heels down, keep everything lined up. Add the arms. Long side body, head and the arms back. Broaden and maybe extend. This is Dandasana, which is harder than it seems like it should be. Good, and then bring your hands down, maybe fold Paschimottanasana. Breathe. Take a few breaths, stretch out your low back. Really good. Notice the other day that my right leg always wants to go forward. You know, you just, when you pay attention, you notice these things. And then come on up, bend your knees, bring the feet flat. You can bring hands behind your thighs if you want. And then again, lengthen, head of the arm bones back, broaden. Really feel the sits bones even and back. And then just lean back till your arms are fully extended and lift the feet. Navasana. Good. And then bring your right shin in front of your left and come to a crisscross applesauce position. Take a moment there. Bring your left hand to your right knee, right hand behind you. Keeping everything in the lower body steady. Just do a little twist. And unwind. Bring the knees up again, feet flat. You guessed it, Navasana again. So take a moment to feel both hips really working as you extend. You don't have to extend your legs all the way. Just notice. Breathe. Can your inner and outer thighs work together? Good, now left shin in front of right. Crisscross applesauce. Take a moment to feel everything grounded and steady. Right hand to left knee, left hand behind you. Long spine as you twist. And please unwind. Feet flat. Hands behind knees. Set up Navasana again, boat pose. And this time, keep noticing, I'm just gonna have you tuck your chin, round your upper back, and as you slowly lower your legs, lower your torso as well. Keep the hips steady. and come all the way down your back. See how slow you can go. Oh. When you get there, stretch your arms up over your head. Stretch both directions. And then please hug your knees in. Round your low back and just kind of roll side to side. And then holding on just to your right shin or knee. Let your left foot come flat. And then you might have to back off a little bit. So if you bring the hands on top of your knee and just move the knee away so you feel your hips are even and you have that femur in the socket and you have a curve in your low back. Then extend your left leg and see if you can keep that the same. Good. Just ground it down. Now keep a hold of the right knee with your left hand. Bring your right arm to cactus or T. And then you're just going to do a twist. So you're going to roll to your left hip, keeping the right hip right on top of the left, and just bring that knee across. I like to bring my foot on top of the left thigh just because it holds it steady because my knee doesn't come all the way down. And just notice a stretch in that outer right thigh where you've been working it so hard. One more breath. And then roll back to center. And hug both knees in again. And even kind of roll into a little ball so you can feel the low back pressing down. And then shift so you're holding just the left knee. Bring the right foot flat. And then just notice where your hips feel even and you can ground that left leg into the socket and you have the curve in your low back. And then maybe extend the right leg. See if you can still feel the evenness. Might have to move the knee further away from you. Hold the outer left knee with your right hand. Left hand to cactus or T. Left foot on top of right thigh and then roll to the right hip. Feel a stretch in that outer right hip that you've been working so hard. And breathe. Oof, that feels like a big stretch today. Good, and then rolling back to center. Hug both knees in again. Just kind of roll side to side. Just massage the low back and then holding the knees. Push the knees away from you till your arms are full length and you feel the curve. And then bring the knees wider and let go so your feet drop right on the edge of the mat. And bring your arms to cactus or T again. Now this is a little bit variation than when you usually do. I want you to think, I'm going to keep my hips steady and right where they are. I'm just going to allow my right knee to drop towards my left ankle. The left knee stays up. Do you feel that? Just kind of stretching out that outer hip. Right hip doesn't come up really. Your knee may not go low. Good, now switch. So right knee up, left knee down. Try and keep that left hip steady. Feel your core muscles working a little bit. Good. Do that one more time. So left knee up, right knee down. Really think about keeping that hip down. Really subtle movement. Switch again. And now both knees up again. Relax a little bit. Now let both knees drop to the right. My left hip comes up, but it feels kind of good. You can feel the outer right hip where you've been working those muscles a little bit. Just notice. And then switch. So both knees up and over to the left. And one more time each side with both knees swinging. Kind of relaxing those muscles. Allowing them to re-lengthen. And over to the left. And then with both knees up, bring the soles of your feet together. Your knees open. You can bring your hands on your belly or your inner thighs. Actually, try this. If you bring your pointer finger and your thumb and kind of cup your hip crease, and then just press the pelvis away from you. Feels really nice. And relax into it. Slowly close your knees. Stretch out for Shavasana. Just notice where your leg attaches to your hip or your pelvis. And just really talk to it and say, okay, relax. Work those muscles so well. And some breath down there. Every exhale, encourage it to let go. Relax your jaw. Relax the soles of your feet. And each individual toe. As you continue to relax, I just wanted to read a blessing from Julia Cameron. Bless Spirit's timing in my life. I surrender my sense of drama and urgency. I recognize that the slower seasons of life are necessary to find my showier and more rapid periods of expansion. I surrender my need for life to be filled with large and dramatic moments. I accept small gains and victories, turning away from the idea that there is some quick fix which will make me feel heroic and invulnerable. I accept the fact that I am a worker among workers, a friend among friends. In choosing not to force the pace of my life, I embrace wisdom over velocity. Tapping into prana, life force. Just invite a little bit deeper breath, opening your lungs, bowing. When you're ready to move a little bit, small wiggles. You can take your time transitioning on up to seated. Please bring hands to heart center. I bow to that beautiful, unchanging spirit within each of you. Namaste. Okay. Yeah. I know. I've been doing all week. I'm really sore. Have a great day, you guys.